Welcome to Driven, the Unscripted Success podcast, with your hosts, Mike Menino and Nariman Hamden, bringing you insights and stories on achieving personal, professional, and financial success.
Hi, everybody. It's Michael Menino, and welcome to Driven, Unscripted Success podcast. Today on the podcast, we're interviewing professionals who share their experience with you, the audience, and how they got to where they're at today. And zooming from the beautiful island, Providence, Rhode Island, we have Kat Holt. How you doing, young lady?
I am so great, and thank you for that young part. That makes my day.
You are young. It's all perspective. I'm old, you're young. That's how this works.
Okay, deal.
So, Kat, do me a favor. Great name, by the way. Love the name. Tell everybody where you're at in business and how you got to where you're at.
Sure. So I have been on an adventure, kind of just following my fancy and my passions. When I was in school, I was a psychology major, but did not want to be in therapy because I'm a solve the problem and get it done kind of person. And the idea of talking about the same problems over and over again was not high on my list. I also am a painter and a musician, and so I was trying to figure out what to do. And I was advised to go into advertising, and I did. I did it during the dot-com boom. Went to New York City, and haven't looked back. And the thing I like most about what I'm doing is the fact that it constantly changes. So that keeps my curiosity going, and it makes it feel like I can't stop, won't stop. And that's even more true today than it was over 25 years ago because of the rapid change based on AI and the macroeconomic environment and the proliferation of content and brands and options. And that's what I love. So that's what I've been doing for 25 years.
So let's talk about the AI differential. So, there's been a lot since 25 years, you've seen a lot. You've seen a lot. My cousin does advertising, does commercials and stuff like that. And he says it's changed. It's changed a lot. What is AI doing for you or against you?
I will come out and say I love AI.
Yeah.
And in fact, I use it all of the time. And I see that it's one of those tools that we're going to have to master in order to understand how we connect with each other, in order to understand how we can have greater efficiencies in what we do as business owners or, desk jockeys. And I honestly think that it's going to drive the future expectations for how people engage with companies and brands. I think it's going to be much more of a chat or conversational based world. And as a business owner, I use it for myself. And as somebody who helps other companies with their marketing and their customer experience, we're doing a lot of building of AI strategies and applications for our clients. So I see it as an incredible tool that will only allow for more people to do marketing, communications, and customer experiences better.
Nice. I like that. Well, you're not afraid of it, which a lot of people are, concerned about losing their jobs from it.
Well, the jobs are going to change.
Right.
And if you don't learn how to bring AI into your job, you will lose your job.
Yeah, it makes sense. There's a lot of competition in what you do in marketing. What sets you apart? What comes easy to you? Comes challenging to other people?
Well, so I launched this company over 4 years ago with my business partner, Dino Patanio. And the reason I did it was because I'd been working in advertising agencies, digital agencies, looking to bridge between what people typically consider brand marketing and advertising, and then on the other side, websites and digital experience design and performance marketing, digital acquisition. And so I've been bouncing back and forth between the two. And I was fortunate enough about 10 years ago to have an opportunity to go in-house at Progressive and ran all of the marketing strategy for Progressive Insurance. And what was fascinating is that I had worked at the agency. I had worked at Arnold. That's how I was recruited and ended up with the job I had. And I found that being on the client side, um, my friends, my former colleagues who now were working with me on the agency side of the desk, we were having a hard time. And the reason we were having a hard time is because when you're in marketing and you're in an agency, you kind of want to wow the client. And so you do a lot of work to have a presentation, to make a recommendation that's meant to impress and to make somebody say, I want to buy that. The problem is that's not how business works. Things change, conversations happen in the hallways, strategic priorities shift. And if you aren't having much more of a integrated one team approach to doing the work side by side instead of on other sides of the desk, people are going to get frustrated, right? I was as a client, and the agency, my friends were as my strategic partner. And so this agency is really meant to be more of a collaboration process where we have one team, we act as an extension of the client organization. Um, and also we make sure we put business strategy first and foremost, and then translate that into brand and marketing or experiential design strategy or acquisition strategies, whatever the need may be.
Mhm.
And so I think that the way we work with the teaming and then how we think about it, where we put business first, makes our approach and our value proposition different than others.
Awesome. That's fantastic. It sounds interesting. It sounds that how you change uh, how you've changed from regular to AI, and then how you've how do I put this? How you've found a niche in
Mhm.
your market. And I think that's 90% of businesses don't do that. They go for the shotgun effect. You know what I mean? Like remodelers or contractors, they just want to do everything. And I like what you're doing. That's fantastic. If someone wants to get better at that, at what you do, what would you suggest them? What tips and tricks would you tell them?
I think it's about multidisciplinary fluency. Um,
Multidisciplinary fluency.
I just made that up. I'll,
Well, it's
I'll
a
break
pretty good one to make up.
I'll,
I got to give you that.
I'll break it down.
Thank you.
So the opportunities I've seen in my career have come from the fact that I translate between a group of people who believe that one way is the best way and who have become successful doing that, and then another group who might do it a different way. But because of the complexity of the business world we're operating in, because of the need to blend what would traditionally be branding and advertising with an understanding of performance outcomes, and then finally this notion of how does digital, how do builds play a role? Because we're, as people, we're spending so much time in a digital world. Like this is a digital world we are in. We're not in the same room. The viewers and listeners are experiencing
In
us in
different
a digital
rooms.
way, right? And
Yeah.
so you have to be curious enough to start to understand the pockets that may not be where you kind of grew up or became seasoned. And then also open enough to be able to have a conversation where the best of the folks that are good in that one area can come together, have a conversation. But because they're together in the same room, they're able to then create something that each individually would not have been able to do. And so I think that that's even more true today because everyone is being asked to learn AI, to understand how it works. And I'm not just talking about going into Gemini and asking a question. I'm talking about understanding the right questions to ask. You know, they call it prompts.
Mhm.
Being able to understand that just because we have this technology doesn't mean that our human brain is turned off, right? And so it's understanding that the brand people and the acquisition marketing people and the business people, their expertise is still coming front and center. But there are ways to bring that into the group. There's ways to create a team where you try things that you've never done before, which is critical these days. And you kind of sort of switch on the fly so that you can take whatever is working and do more of it, or stop doing what's not working, fix it and try something else. And so I think that curiosity for what other people are doing and a willingness to be both confident in your own strategic strengths, but humble enough to know that it's going to take a village to be successful, moving forward.
I can't agree with that more. My success has been on partnering with the right people.
Hmm.
I agree with that 1000%. You can't do it alone, and find great partners and find your weakness. That's really the key. I like
Well,
that. I like that a lot.
and here's the thing, this goes back to sort of management strategy, which because I have worked in integrated teams for my entire career, I've had to kind of get studious about what it takes to set up successful teams. Um, and what I find interesting is that oftentimes you have, performance programs within corporations or companies, or sort of a approach that HR departments apply that says you have to identify your strengths on them, I mean, weaknesses, and work on them. Right. And so it's almost an expectation that we have that sort of, I think, carryover from old school management that says you have to keep on improving and make those things better. But I don't think that's true. I mean, obviously, we're not talking about the improvements that are necessary in terms of how you treat other people, or whether or not you're
The
upholding,
basics.
the core values and doing
Mhm.
things ethically. Those are things that everyone needs to be improving on. But if you're working in a team, like, it's okay if you're not the detail oriented, let's put it all in an Excel spreadsheet and see what can go wrong person, if you're the ideas person. But you also have to know, to your point, um, I need that person on my team because I do not do it. And that's how you come together and create something that's better. And that's what I love doing.
Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly. Um, that is really the key. Like you were saying about, your strengths and weaknesses, work with your strengths, and old school is, work on your weaknesses. I don't know if that's a great idea.
Well,
I don't subscribe to that.
again, I mean, there are some that you have to, but the problem with that is that in order for a company to be successful, so many things have to be operating at top performance, right?
Correct.
And the complexity inherent in that is tremendous. And so if we're setting our own expectations up, or expectations for the folks that we work with, that you have to be an expert in all of those things and good at all of those things. First off, it's humanly impossible. That's not how we are, right? We're perfectly
Right.
imperfect at a lot of things. And then sometimes we do close to perfect on a couple of things. Um, you're just going to get kind of C plus, B minus work from everybody if that's the case. I'd
Mhm.
much rather have a team of A plus players in an area, and then a team understanding of collaboration, partnership, and building together, than to have a team of C plus, B minus folks.
I agree wholeheartedly. Yep. So, I like the people working in their talents.
Oh, that's a great, working in their talents. That's fantastic.
Working
I
in their
like that.
talent. See, a lot of people, they hear somebody say, follow your passion, follow your passion. Like,
Mm,
that. Work in your talents. That's where you really succeed. When I was running the construction crews, and someone comes in, they wanted to hire in, and like, what do you like doing? And I like doing crown molding. All right, you do the crown molding. What do you like doing? I like doing the doors. All right, you do the doors. I like doing staircases. You do the staircases. And each person working in their gifts is great. And then everybody doesn't want to do base. So at 3 o'clock, everybody does the base. Nobody, right? Everybody does the
Somebody's
hard
got to
part.
clean the toilets.
Somebody's got to clean the toilets, right? And I found that it creates a atmosphere, or a conducive atmosphere, and there's less arguments, less bickering, and it's a great way to work, and working with teams. What is one of your management styles
Hmm.
that helps you in your career?
So it's interesting because that's one of those things where it can be difficult to understand what is your style. And
Hmm.
so often I think people think they understand it, but they don't. And so I've actually had to work a lot to hear, listen, understand, what is my style and my approach, partly because then I have to find those people that can buttress me. And so what I hear from my teams is that I'm definitely a visionary, imagine what could be. Let's think not just the next year, but 3, 5, 10 years out, and then paint that picture. And then building that roadmap of, okay, if we want to be at that place and call it 5 years, what does the team need to do in order to build to that goal? That doesn't mean that the vision doesn't shift. I mean, the vision hopefully doesn't shift too much, but it does mean that I've had to learn to break down my visions, these ideas, the things that I get really passionate about. And I think that's another component of my style is I tend to wear my heart on my sleeve. I think I live a much more passionate sort of ideas oriented, energetic kind of life. Um, but just because I have a vision doesn't mean the other people have the vision. And so stopping, breaking it down, going backwards, and understanding how to bring people along and to break it down into steps and to help them see themselves on the team and giving them the confidence that, they will have success, even though 99 times out of 100, I'm asking them to do something in a way they haven't done before. And so, on my good days, I'm both painting the picture, a vision, and breaking it down and bringing people along. And on my bad days, I'm just out in the future and people are looking at me feeling a little tired and a little confused. And so it's always that work in progress and that balance.
Balance, balance, Miyagi-san. Yeah, I agree
Mhm.
with it. I agree with that 100%. And you know yourself. You know you're the visionary, and then you have the implementers behind you to make the vision come true.
Yeah, that's right. Because you can't, as a leader, I go and have conversations and then put those teams together. Ultimately, I'm making a promise that yes, I will play a role on delivering on,
Hmm.
but it's mostly the people that I bring onto team who are going to deliver on it. And
Hmm.
you cannot make promises that you can't keep. And
Hmm.
so I think that that is a critical component to leadership, particularly in this day and age.
I agree wholeheartedly. A lot of people are, we're in we're in financing and multifamily, and I see these young kids, 25 years old, talking about how awesome they are at something, and I'm like, you're
Mm.
25. I'm gonna have to say, you still got a lot to learn.
Yeah, I think all I would be hard pressed to say that there's any 25-year-old out there that doesn't have this false sense of, competency. The older you get, the more you realize you don't know anything.
Yeah, yeah, that's a good way to put it. There you go. Bravo. That's going to be the name of the podcast. The older you get, the less you know.
Mhm.
It really is true. Like I thought I knew something at 25, and the older I got, the less I knew. And I actually got a degree in something, martial arts master's degree.
Oh, that's fantastic. I've done a little bit of that myself.
Well, what did you get to, if you don't mind me asking?
Oh, no, 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 no. I didn't get very far because I'm
Okay,
also a horrible klutz. And I was doing Krav Maga,
there you go. That's a good one.
and it was a room full of mostly much larger men. And uh,
That's a great place to start.
it's fantastic. I actually learned, and I've been trying to teach because I have 3 teenage girls, and I've been trying to help them understand how to kind of express all sides of them. And one thing I did notice as a female is, we don't get socialized to roughhouse.
No,
And when I saw these guys
yeah,
fighting,
yeah,
they were just letting it loose, man. And, for me, I had overcome this sense of politeness and like
yeah, yeah, yeah,
propriety. Like,
yeah, 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 yeah.
but The thing about me is that I'm such a big klutz. And so we were doing these moves and I did not do it right. And I did a face plant into the back of somebody's skull and almost broke my nose.
Yeah, that
So
happens. I'm
I
sorry.
thought, I thought, you know what? Not right now. Because I mean, I'm a single mom for my daughters. I'm running my
Yeah, you're
business. I was
needed.
like,
You're
maybe,
needed.
maybe not right now, but it's fantastic.
It is.
Yeah,
It is. It really is. It teaches you a lot about yourself. And I'll never forget. I was going for my master's or my black belt, and I walked into another martial arts school, and it said a true master doesn't believe he is one.
that's right.
So to get back to where at 20, I thought I knew what I was doing, and now that I'm older and I reach a mastery in one thing, I know one thing. I don't know what I'm doing.
Well, and also what I loved the most about martial arts is that you could never be done getting better.
Exactly. But some people leave because of that. Some people are like, there's got to be an end. There's no end. There's zero end.
Never.
There's never end. You could just keep going. I've been doing it for 26, 27 years. I'm just getting warmed up. I know a lot. Don't get me wrong, but there's so much I don't know. There's so much I don't know.
Well,
Eh,
and I feel like that's the growth mindset,
yes.
right? And so in some ways, and now you're making me think I should ask, do you do anything that is one of those practices that never end, right? Yoga is the same way, being a
Yoga
musician
is the
is
same
the
way.
same way.
Hmm.
Um, and for all of those, you have to adjust over time because your body changes, right?
Yes, you do. Yes, you do. But the one thing I've learned at what I do is the more you do it, the less it hurts.
Oh yeah. Hmm.
Right? So
That
there's
is
something about the
literally
fortitude.
the second subtitle for
Yeah, there
this
you go.
discussion. The more you do it, the less it hurts.
It's the craziest thing in the world, and I can describe it like I do professional brick breaking. You ever see those guys breaking stuff? And I was working on the bag today, and it hurts.
Hmm.
But if I do it, if I keep practicing that technique, after a week or two, it doesn't hurt anymore. It's Our bodies are very amazing things. Just like any practice at work, anything you do, if you do it, it gets easier. It doesn't get harder. You get stronger.
Yeah, and what's interesting about this is essentially you have to acknowledge that that thing you're not good at yet is scary,
Hmm.
right? Because it could be scary because there's physical pain or
Yep.
there's
You're
emotional
gonna fail.
doubt.
You're
But
gonna look stupid.
but the amazing thing about this life is that the best things in life are on the other side of that fear.
Yes, exactly.
And so, I think in martial arts, it's a bit about, as long as you show up on the mat, you've won.
Yes. Yes, that right there. As long as you show up in the mat, you won. Yep.
Mhm.
Yep. I learned that from a little kid, believe it or not.
Mhm. I believe it.
We were at a tournament, and I don't like losing. I'm not a fan of losing. And my style was stand up punching and kicking. And I went into a judo tournament where there's no punching and kicking. I was a second degree black belt walking in as a white belt. And then I was telling one of the guys, I'm like, I don't like losing. And he was a kid. He was like 15, 16. He looks at me and he goes, what's your definition of losing? I'm like, well, going in there and they're going to say one's a winner and one's a loser. That's a loser. He goes, oh,
Mhm.
I know. And I know. And yeah. And then he said, my definition is not getting in the ring.
100%.
Yeah. I learned that.
Yeah.
And yep.
And it's fascinating because again, I have these teenagers, so parenting is so difficult because it's the one job where you're trying to put yourself out of business, right?
Yeah.
You spend
That's a
all
great
of,
way to put it.
you
That's a
spend,
great way to put it. You're trying to put yourself out of business.
you put all of this time
Yeah.
for and I'm going to say 24 years because my 19-year-old still
Yeah.
needs me.
Yeah.
Um, and it doesn't mean you stop parenting, but
Yeah.
your job is to make sure that you don't have to. And so as I think about, how are my kids getting ready for life? And I see what's happening in schools and this notion of just showing up is winning. I don't think we're teaching that.
Oh, I
Right?
didn't
Because
learn
we're
that.
teaching tests and we're teaching scores, and there's a
Right.
right
Yep.
answer and a wrong
Yep.
answer. And
Right.
I don't know about you, but I've been doing this for over 25 years, and there has never been once in my career where there was, strictly speaking, a right way or a wrong way to be successful.
Mm-mm. There isn't. Just being successful. And what's your definition of success?
Well, there you go.
Right. So
Exactly.
there's multiple ways of that too.
Exactly.
Hey, listen, real quick. Hitting the bumps in the road. Can you
Mm.
share a time that you hit a bump in the road and how you got through it?
Bumps happen on the regular.
They do.
I'll take my business for example. I'm on my, so it's 4 years in. I'm on my third business strategy for my own business.
There you go. That's just
And you're like, what's your definition of success? My first year revenue was significantly higher than my fourth year revenue.
really
hmm But
wow.
I'm looking into this fifth year I'm in right now,
Hmm.
and I think I'm going to get right back there. But also, it's built right this time.
There you go.
So it's going to create a more sustainable foundation from which I will build. Uh,
There you go.
and I had to play around with my business model. And so could I say I failed? Maybe. But you know as well as
Mm-mm.
I do, you get to year 5 as an entrepreneur and you're likely to get to year 15.
Yes,
And
exactly.
I didn't stop and I adjusted, and it was hard. There
Hmm.
were days I was waking up thinking, is this the right thing to do? Because I'm the only breadwinner, right?
Hmm.
Um, but the idea of not doing it felt even worse.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, I love that. Absolutely love that. Well, listen, wrapping up the interview, what do you got exciting planned for the next 6 to 12 months?
Too much, as my chief operating officer has been telling me. But I will share. So I'm expanding my offering and my services by bringing in some really seasoned folks that I have a path to partnership and a pretty healthy profit sharing model, which is part of my shift in my strategy. And so I announced one person kind of unofficially, but I have announcements between December, January, February, and probably March for new folks that are coming on that are going to be really important in helping clients make sure that they're understanding the business aspect of branding and marketing. Um,
Awesome.
I am expanding into my thought leadership. We're going to be launching a podcast. And
Really?
so I'll have to have you on.
I would love
Um,
to.
and then I'm also building stuff with AI for myself. Right now, I'm just using Copilot and Copilot Studio, but I have workflow and plans to build something that hopefully by the end of the year I'll have a beta for a software as a service. And essentially, the idea we're affectionately calling it Catbot because my team says, I just want to get into your head. And all of a sudden, I realized with AI that I could
Oh, I don't
get
know if you
them
want to go
there.
there. Let's
Yeah, yeah.
let's
So
consider that.
I've been documenting process workflows, prompts, and starting to build out betas for 4 applications. And once I get it working enough in my little tinkering way, my digital team, I'm going to invest in order to build out a beta.
Okay, listen, thanks a lot for the interview. Real quick, if people want to get in touch with you and learn a little bit more about marketing for their business, how would they do that?
You can go to my website. It's Coologee.com. That's COOLOGEE.com. I'm just beginning on my Substack, so find me there. Brand is Business is the
Substack.
name. Substack is one of those publishing platforms. You should check it out.
Really?
Yeah, yeah. It has a really nice subscription alert system. So once you publish something, your subscribers are notified. And then I'm also on LinkedIn. So you can find me on LinkedIn at Catherine Holt. And those are the best ways.
Awesome. Well, listen, thanks a lot for being on the podcast. Thanks for sharing all your insights and really do appreciate your time. And for
Thanks. That
everybody
was
else,
great.
if everybody else please like and subscribe and hit that notification button. It really helps out the channel. And thanks a lot for being on, Kat. Really appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to Driven, the Unscripted Success Podcast. Want to share your story? Apply to be a guest at drivensuccesspodcast.com/guest.